The most engaging, impactful, informative, and entertaining talk show ever. Get ready to hear the voices of many local, state, and national artists, musicians, comedians, pastors, athletes, and politicians. It's time for South Florida Live with Jeffrey Brown. The most engaging, impactful, informative, and entertaining talk show ever. Get ready to hear the voices of many local, state, and national artists, musicians, comedians, pastors, athletes, and politicians. It's time for South Florida Live with Jeffrey Brown.
All right. Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the South Florida Live podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Brown, and we always start our episodes saying that this is the day that the Lord has made, so we shall rejoice and be glad in today. Hey, come on in, everyone. Come on, join us this evening. We're going to have a conversation on this evening. I got a special guest that's coming on. If you saw the flyer, you saw the post, you know who it is. So come on, join us on tonight. Listen, I hope everyone experienced peace and blessings on today. Everybody had a productive day, a very good day on today. If you were home, you had a productive day at home. If you worked from home, you had a great day at home, or if you at work, or if you're on your way from work to home, hey, be safe out there and make it home safely. Once again, I appreciate everybody that's coming on, joining us on this evening. Come on in. You know what tonight is. Tonight is Meditation Monday. So let's talk about the things that matter. Yes, let's do that. So those that are coming on Facebook, if you will, please like, share, and make a comment in the comment section. Let me know that you're there. Also, I ask if you will please tag a few people and let them know the South Florida Live podcast is on. Yes, we are live, L-I-V-E, live. So let them know that we're live and we're on, and we have a special guest on tonight that we're going to have a conversation with that you do not want to miss, okay? Those that are viewing by YouTube, thank you for viewing by YouTube. Thank you so very much. Those that are viewing, please like, please share, please make a comment, and let me know that you're there. And I appreciate it. Hey, listen. If it's your first time, if it's your very first time viewing us by YouTube, I need you to do me a favor. Go ahead and subscribe for me. Hit that subscribe button if you will. Hit the subscribe button. And once you do that, I need you to click on a bell. You'll see a little bell and click on that bell. That way you get notified every time we go live. Okay? Click the bell, click all. You'll be notified every time we go live. Okay? Do that for us, please. Thank you so much. Those that are coming on, once again, appreciate you coming on. Thank you so very much. Hey, listen, as you see, those that I want to first thank my partners, those that have donated to this podcast, has given to this podcast. I want to tell you thank you. You know who you are. I don't want to go through all the names, but you know who you are. I want to tell you thank you. I've sent you things personal and to thank you. So anyone that's want to partner up with this podcast, that want to be blessing, want to donate to this podcast, hey, listen, you can right there. Our information is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. If you like, Cash App, you can Cash App us at $ Power and Glory 777, $ Power Glory 777, and you can also Zelle us at Jeffrey Brown 2094 at gmail.com. That's Jeffrey Brown, Jeffrey Brown 2094@gmail.com. Whatever blessings that you send would be helpful. We're trying to do some things. We're trying to go digital all the way and create some stuff and some other things that we want to do later on in the year. So please, if you will, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. All right. Hey, listen, once again, come on in. Let's join us on tonight. I got a real special guest with us tonight, and we're going to get into it, and we're going to have a conversation because this is Meditation Monday, and we're going to talk about the things that matter on this evening, okay? So come on and join us. I'm going to give you guys about at least, give you 30 seconds. Give you 30 seconds. Come on in. Those that are coming, come on in. Once again, thank you for those that are viewing us right now. Thank you for those that are viewing us right now on YouTube and those that are viewing us on Facebook. Thank you so very much for taking out your time to be with us on this evening, okay? Listen, I'm gonna just say this. Voting has started for Dade County. Voting has started for Dade County. Early voting has started for Dade County right now. Has started. So those that are watching, those that are tuned in, and you're in Miami-Dade, you can go to any of your local precincts that's available in your area that you normally go to and early vote. I've been saying it, y'all. I've been preaching it. Let's go early vote. Let's do it. Let's go in overwhelming numbers and let's knock it out. Let's get it done. Okay. Miami-Dade starts this week, and then we got Broward County starting on the 8th. All right. So let's go it. Let's get prepared. Let's get ready. Those that have your mail-in ballots, if you receive your mail-in ballots, please do not play. Do not waste your time. Do not waste time. Soon as you get it, fill it out. Fill out your mail-in ballot. Make sure you sign it. You put your signature on it. Okay. And let's get it back in the mail at a early. Don't wait late. Let's do it early. Okay. Everything we need to do right now, because we don't want no issues. We don't want you to have any problems. We don't want you to have any hiccups or anything that prevents you from voting. All right. So make sure that you are on time. You're timely. Those that are going to do early voting, get there and take care of that. Those that are doing mail-in, all right, let's go ahead and take care of that. And the primary day for voting would be the 18th. All right. So once again, I've been stressing also, let's make sure we take care of our seniors. Okay. Let's take care of our seniors. Our seniors that's out there are our responsibility. So those seniors that have mail-in ballots, please, y'all, make sure that their mail-in ballot is done correctly, that everything is on it, that's done right. They've got their signature on it, and they put it back in the mail. You help them put it in the mail in their mailbox, or you can just go and drop it off, have them take them and drop it off at the election office if you choose to do that. All right. Early voting. If you know some seniors that don't have transportation, that can't get there, it's our responsibility. If they're in your neighborhood or in your community, in your family, hey, let's go ahead and pick them up and let's take them. Okay. Take them with you. If you're going, call them up and let them know, hey, I'm going to do early voting on such a day. If you like to go, have all your information, all your documents, what you need, and I'm going to pick you up and we'll go together. All right. That's our responsibility. Let's make that happen. All the 18-year-olds that are registered to vote, parents, uncles, godfathers, godmothers, make sure that they go to vote. All right. And have the conversation on why they're voting. All right. And I gave you guys a lesson on way back to get to know your candidates. All right. I have an issue when people call me at the last minute asking me to send them the ballot list because they don't know who's on the ballot. They don't know who they're voting for. Come on, let's do better. When we know better, we do better. All right, let's do that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Let's take care of that. Let's get it done. All right. Hey, listen. All right, let's get it started. Let's get it started. I'm gonna bring my guests on tonight. I'm so excited for them to take their time out on this evening to join us to share with my audience and share with voters a little something about them. So we're going to bring him on. It's my brother, it's my friend, the one and only Eugene Bowe. Hey, good evening,
Good,
sir.
good evening. Good evening to you, and good evening to all of your listeners, those who are watching. It is an honor and a blessing to be here with you.
Hey, listen, it's an honor for you to accept the invitation and invite to come and join us on this evening, man. So once again, welcome to the South Florida Live Podcast. Thank you for joining us again. All right. Hey, listen, we're going to get right into it because I know your time is valuable and we don't want to hold you long. So we're going to get right into it, and our viewers want to hear from you. I may open the lines up if we can take phone calls, or if those that are viewing, if you want to make comments in the comment section, some questions other than my questions, I'll present them to candidate Bowe. Okay, we can do that. Hey, let's do this. Before we get into it, for those that are watching, those that are viewing, my audience, some voters that are watching, that may not know who you are. That might be difficult, but that's someone that might know who you are. Just tell us a little something about who yourself and your background.
Yep. So I'm going to start with this. I'm a child of God because I believe that's the foundation of everything we do. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I have two young children at 3.5 and a 5.5. God has blessed me with these two beautiful, beautiful children. And for the past 5.5 years, I worked in county government for Broward County government. 2019 to very late 2024, the end of 2024. And prior to that, I worked in higher education because I love young people. I love young minds. I believe we got to invest as a society in our young people because they're the future. And so I've done that for many years. And like I said, for about 5.5 years, I worked in county government. And while working there, I realized that there's so much opportunity left on the table that the current, I would say, generation of politicians, the professional politicians that have been around for decades and decades, they leave a lot of things to be desired, and then not all. I don't want to generalize, but there's a good group of them that don't seem to have their heart in the game anymore. Just like a football player. So sometimes if your heart is not in the game, you're not going to deliver. It's the same thing with politics. And so I said, well, God called me to step up, and I said to my wife about 2 years ago, I said, well, if not now, then when? If not us, then who? Just like the Bible says, like, you are called to do something, and
Right.
you get to work.
Right. Yeah, and we have to have that, and we need people that really have a heart, just not a heart for it, but compassion for everyone in the community. That's so important these days, that candidates that are running, that they have a heart and a compassion and a genuine love for the people in their district or the community. So you hit it a little bit. So what was the time? Where did it come? What inspired you to say, okay, this okay, I'm running for Broward County Commission? What inspired you to do it?
So for background, I wasn't, I was born in a communist country. I came here with nothing but God above. And by here, I mean to this country as a young man. But I was born at a time when poverty was widespread. I was born in Romania. And at the time, Romania was an impoverished country run by a dictator that did not provide food to the people. Christians were persecuted. It was a very, very bad place to grow up. I didn't know it at the time. I was a child. But later on, I realized that God protected me, and I was born with two loving parents, and I had some grandparents that loved on me. So I was shielded from all that. However, the reality that most people face was pretty dire, pretty sad. Well, I moved to this country, and God kept opening doors for me, and but that experience as a child never left me, and that informs who I am today.
Mm,
And so, fast forward to working for county government, since you asked me why I decided to run, is so in 2019 I started working for the Broward County Commission. It's formed of 9 people, and they make decisions on a lot of things that are very important for our daily lives, right? Whether it is the infrastructure and flooding, because normally it's the city, but if the city gets overwhelmed or if they don't have the resources, they're supposed to go to their big brother, which is the county, and the county is supposed to come in and help, or they're supposed to go to the state or some other agency like the Florida Department of Transportation and say, hey, this road keeps flooding. What can you do to help? Things like that. Or when it comes to economic development, bringing jobs to a community, that is a county thing, because oftentimes the city is too overwhelmed. And may not have the economic development experts and all the knowledge and the relationships, but the county, as a much bigger organization, they can go to the companies, they can go to the, let's say, the schools, and say, hey, how can we create more apprenticeships and internships for the community? How can we align those with the industry needs, so that if the industry needs a certain type of job, that's a high wage, good paid job, how can we make sure that our kids in our community are trained for those jobs,
mm,
especially now with AI and all the new technology? So how can we bring those resources into the community, as opposed to expecting a 15-year-old to take 3 buses to go to some training center up in North in Fort Lauderdale? All I'm trying to say is that I started realizing that there's so many opportunities to do things better and different, and that generation after generation of politicians, especially the professional ones that jump from place to place, maybe they lost their touch, and so we need to bring some fresh energy, some heart, and a passion for making a difference in our communities. And so I told my wife, well, let's just do it. And I prayed about it. I talked to, I have a lot of pastor friends, and so I talked to them as well. And so I'm sure the community, for example, someone like Pastor Wayne Allen with Ebenezer in Hollandale, and many others.
mm.
Just mentioning him, but there's many other ones. And so um, as I decided to run for change.
Okay, great. Yeah, because we definitely Broward County is in need of that. Um, so I know you said you dealt with higher learning. You was in the educate. I mean, in
Mm.
the commission. The government. You work for the government. But really, what experience have prepared you to serve on the Broward County
Mhm.
Commission?
Very good question. So while working for the government, what I did is I ended up working for a county commissioner, and I ended up being his right hand. So every county commissioner has a staff of like 2 or 3 people, and they're supposed to basically help out with everything. And I'm not just saying bringing him water. I'm saying, like, let's say the county wants to engage in a new infrastructure project, like they want to expand the airport and they want to create new jobs, and all of those, like how many, how much money does it have to be allocated for this project? Who's impacting? How can we get more, for example, small businesses to participate in this? How can we make sure that all of our community and the demographics are represented? So those that, for example, haven't had access, maybe the smaller businesses that don't have all the lawyers and the lobbyists to get contracts from the county. So how do we do this in a way that's fair and equitable? So I've learned all those things by working with this commissioner hand in hand. And so he promoted me to a position that was a director of policy and public affairs. So basically, everything that he touched, I touched basically, and I ended up being in the back room doing the work, right? Sometimes it involved working with municipalities, working with the mayor, working with commissioners. Hey, how can we approach this issue, and how can we provide some solutions for the community? Sometimes it meant developing the relationships within the building, because county government is a beast, is a big machine, right? And just like every big bureaucracy, some things work, some things don't work. And if you don't know what levers to push, if you don't know the people, if you cannot pick up a call and say, hey, I'll give you a concrete example. A house blew up in West Park not too long ago, a few years ago. I called two directors, the emergency management director and the human services director. Emergency manager, to see, essentially what I said is, hey, there's a crisis. We have the budget and the programs to, number one, put people in hotels if needed while they fix their homes, and number two, we have grants to provide people to help them fix their homes. And so what can we do? That's the kind of knowledge of the programs, the relationships in the building to say, hey, there's a problem, let's find a solution. And if the city cannot do it because it's too small, they don't have the money, whatever, sometimes you can work with them, you can work together, but let's get things done for the people. And so that's the kind of knowledge of how the machine works, what the relationships are, and the entire dynamic, how it works, and how you can make it work a little better for the people, because oftentimes it doesn't work. That's the problem. It doesn't work, and people feel it, they see it. It's like, hey, the government ain't working for me.
So and that I'm glad you went there, because this is a question I want to ask you. Being that you do get to you talk to some of the folks that are in the higher, that's in control. My question is, how strong of a voice would you have, or do you have, and would you have if you were elected as Broward County Commissioner for District 6? How strong would your voice be to them, and how strong is your voice? I mean, to really, would they hear you? Do you have that strong voice that'll get their attention and make some things change and get some things done that you want to get done?
Yeah. Well, I think to get things done, you need a few things. Number one, you need the relationships with your peers, because you have 9 people. In order to pass anything, you need 4 of them to agree with you, because you need a majority. You need 5 of them, 5 votes. So I would be 1. I would need 4 more. The relationships I've built over more than 5 years, so I know all of these people well. Number 2 is knowing the bureaucracy, like, because you can vote on something, but it is oftentimes people in the building, like the administrative staff and the directors and associates, all of those things, and oftentimes it takes them working with the city or with some other agency in order to get things done. Getting to know them and getting to know what gets them to move on something so they can get something done. And number 3, you need to be bold. And I don't say that because it's my name, but oftentimes, often, oftentimes in politics, you have people that are not willing to say the truth. And I mean, we my God, I mean, we don't have the luxury of lying to our people anymore. The politicians should not have the luxury of lying. If they've had it in the past, shame on them. But when you drive through certain neighborhoods and see that, the basic function of government is not met, you don't even have in some neighborhoods lights, you don't have sidewalks, you don't have jobs, you don't have a clinic, you don't have a grocery store, and then you drive a mile the other way and you see an abundance of resources, you realize that the government, now I'm not saying the government can and should do everything for the people, but they can certainly facilitate, they can certainly nudge the private sector, they can certainly coordinate and orchestrate and choreograph. So you need to have the guts, how can I put it, the courage to speak the truth and demand change in the places where a lot of times change has only been driven by money and special interests. You need to demand change for the people, for your community. And that's why, because I come from nothing, like I see that I'm still paying my student loans. I'm not a rich guy by any means. I'm hot, like solid working class. When you come from that kind of a background, and you move in some of these chambers and you see how some of these guys so nonchalantly forget about the people that are driving this county, that are driving Florida, the working people. Like when you hang out, you're around them for a while, you're like, you do not get to to set the tone for this entire community. And
Right.
if you're not going to do the right thing, then get out of the way, because we're coming in and we're going to do the right thing. We
Right.
have to do the right thing. And it's not just me. It should be a whole new generation of people that have to say, you know what? If you guys haven't been able to deliver for our communities, then get out of the way. Let the good, godly, working class men and women in this community, regardless of their color or their creed, good people who genuinely want to bring change, let them do the work. It's not easy, but you have to do it. So, with
Yeah.
God's help and the support of the community, absolutely.
All right. Hey, listen, those that are just joining us on the South Florida Live podcast, as you hear, I have my special guest with us tonight, candidate Eugene Boal, running for county commission in District 6. He's just here. He's here to share his heart, share his vision on tonight with the viewers and whatnot. Listen, if you're viewing, if you're watching us, if you want to make a comment in the comment section, or you have a question in the comment, you can put it in the comment section and we'll get to it. All right. I just wanted to share that with you. Now, I heard that part. So let's go here. Let's go here. So to you, what are the biggest, what is the biggest issue you believe Broward County is facing today? What are some of the biggest issues that you believe Broward County is facing today? And what can we do about them?
Affordability, bar none. Folks can no longer afford to live here. Whether you're a young family and you're trying to buy a house. I mean, I'm not aware of any young family that can afford a house anymore. Whether you're a senior on a fixed income and taxes just keep going up, your insurance probably went up, groceries go up, everything goes up, but your money doesn't go up. And so I think this is the number one problem we have right now is affordability. Housing is another major issue that is tied to affordability. Transportation for a lot of people is another big issue. Now, government doesn't have a magic wand to fix all of it at once, but it can absolutely make a difference on a lot of these issues. So I'll give you an example. Since I brought up transit, public transit. Broward County passed in 2018 a law that essentially taxes 1 penny off of most sales tax, and that penny is supposed to go for better transportation. That's what it's supposed to do.
Right.
To deliver better transit for Broward County. That penny every year amounts to about $600 million in a bucket. Now, count the years. Probably they started accumulating since 2019, 2020, roughly, because when it came into effect 2019. Until now, they have $3 billion sitting in this piggy bank, if you want. Now, they said, well, we have all these programs and we have things in the pipeline and the MPO and this agency, we're doing this, we're doing that. For the people driving around town or waiting for a bus that sometimes gets delayed, or driving on streets that are flooded, or hoping to hop on a train that doesn't exist right now, east-west, a light rail or any kind of train, it doesn't matter if the money's in a bank. The fact of the matter is, I cannot get to my job. I cannot get to my school. And that is a function of county government. That is because county government, unfortunately, didn't do enough to move these things faster, to be more aggressive about deploying that money that they already took. And so I would say we got to start fixing the things that we already have in our lap. Or let's talk about even traffic. Traffic lights are all synchronized by county government. The county government can do a better job at adaptive technology. So that way, when you're at a light and there's no cross traffic, the light turns when it notices, it sees you. You can have cameras, you can have all sensors, whatever. So you're not waiting for no reason. Something so simple, but it adds. Imagine the millions of cars driving every day on our roads. If you had better traffic light synchronization, so when you hit that green all the way on major arteries. And so these are all things that the county should be doing. Now let's talk about briefly about housing. Workforce housing is a big deal. because we all live and work in Broward County, and yet more and more people say that they can no longer afford to live here, so they're moving away. We're talking about some of our pioneer communities, and then you have some charlatans and some let's say, people that want to take advantage of the elderly, and that's another issue that the county can tackle, through a consumer protection division. They take advantage of our elderly. They take their homes and all that stuff. Well, if we had better transit along our major corridors, we can start working with the private sector and the nonprofit sector, maybe even the churches, and
Yeah.
build more workforce and affordable housing, and make it next to transit, so that way you don't need a car to go about your way throughout the county. And so these are just some things that the county can and should do a better job at.
Right. So if let's talk about your vision for Broward County. Let's talk about that. So if elected, when elected, what would be your top three priorities? Your top three priorities during your first year in office. What would be your top three?
So tackling affordability, see how we can lower costs for people. Anything we can do, lower taxes as appropriate when we can, because right now sometimes I would say the county makes, in my opinion, some decisions that are not ideal. So I'll give you an example. A few years back, the county decided to promote Broward County in California. They went to California to promote Broward, and they spent almost $1 million on a float in a parade. It was in the press. $1 million, like 800 and some $1,000 on a float in a parade in California. Meanwhile, the school board just reported we have over 3,000, almost 4,000 children that are classified as homeless.
Yeah.
So the juxtaposition of that, like you look at these two things, and the county, you hear the county spending $800,000 on a float. Meanwhile, our kids don't have homes, don't have a bed to sleep in. So number one, fixing government and see how we can lower costs, how maybe we can lower taxes, and especially on seniors, on fixed income, on those that are already struggling. Number two, and I think those running for office don't talk enough about this, at least here in Broward, is economic development. How can we create more high-paying jobs here in Broward? What can we do to attract more companies that pay well, and force them to say, hey, if you want to come and invest in Broward County, in South Broward, then we're gonna maybe assist you with maybe a small tax break if you invest in these areas that haven't been invested in. And if you're gonna hire at least, I don't know, let's say 200 people at $85,000 a year minimum and up. So how can we, in other words, pull more money into our communities by bringing more companies that pay well? I would say that is a major priority for me personally, because too often we say, well, government just takes from this bucket and then moves it into this bucket. How can we start creating more money into the local economy? Because if you only have a certain amount of money, at some point it ends, and you don't have enough for everybody.
Mhm.
But if you create more, if you put more money in people's pockets, then the whole dynamic shifts, because it's more money going around in the community. And we got to focus on the communities that haven't had that investment in a long time. And number three, I would say, is infrastructure. Too many of our neighborhoods get flooded. And I know we live in a flood prone area, and
Mhm.
infrastructure's old and all that stuff. That's true. But I think we got to go to Tallahassee. I'm big on collaboration. I may not agree with everybody up there, and I don't have to agree on everything.
Right.
But if it comes to bringing money for my people down here, I'm going to go to Tallahassee. I'm going to go to DC. I'm going to go wherever I need to go and try to bring more funding for our communities so we can start fixing things that are broken. So I would say those would be the three big priorities for me.
Wow. Okay. So now let's look at this. How would you make sure that that the voices of everyone in the residency, in the residence, in the community, in District 6 are heard in the county government? What would you how would you make sure that you know the voices of everyday residents, are heard, in that community, in that everyone, all people,
Yep.
everyone is heard in that in the county government.
Well, the voices of the working class, in my opinion, have not really been heard, at least not recently, in my opinion. Not from this part of the county, at least. Maybe other parts of the county, other commissioners, but not in this part of the county. You have a system that's entrenched, and they want to, let's say, protect and promote their own. I'm a disruptor, because I come from nothing, because I come with a very different angle, and I try to fight for the little guy, for the working class. How would I make sure? Well, number one, I would want to have constant communication with the community leaders on the ground. I don't think government should make decisions without talking to the people on the ground. Whether you're a pastor at a church, whether you're a community leader and you do a lot of good work in the community, whether you're a media personality, and the people that have contact with the community the most are in the best position to tell you what the community needs. The government doesn't know on its own what the community needs. And those who make decisions for the community, I'll give you an example. There's people making decisions on billions of dollars on transportation. They've never put foot in a bus ever in their life. And so, I went to school all my life on a public bus. I took buses all my life and trains. And so what I'm saying is making sure that the voices of those in the community that are connected every day with the reality on the ground are heard. So that means putting people on boards, elevating people to various positions, and opening the doors for those that haven't had traditionally those opportunities to perhaps get trained, get hired, get apprenticeships, get internships, make sure that every single group and every single community in your district, in your county, has a seat at the table. That would be a priority for me. And so I would say listening, learning, and being in constant communication with the leaders on the ground, and then creating opportunities for members of the community to have a seat at the table. Because keep in mind, there's dozens and dozens of boards at the county, for example, and they make decisions, a lot of decisions, and then they provide advice to the county commissioners. Now, sometimes the county commissioners don't listen to that advice, but there are a lot of opportunities to make a difference, and elevate the voices of every community as a county commissioner.
Okay, great. Listen, I know you are a man about the town. You get out, you get into the neighborhoods, into the communities. So tell me this: what are you hearing? What is it that you're hearing from the residents as you travel throughout the communities and speak and speak with your voters? As you speak with your voters, what are you hearing? What are they saying?
Pain. Most often than not, I hear pain. Um, I hear a lot of struggle. Um, I hear a lot of voices that haven't been paid attention to and listened to. A lot of communities that are being tokenized or used for political purposes, but they're not cared for. Nobody seems to genuinely pay attention to the pain that they have. I hear voices that for decades haven't been heard in Broward, and they're only heard around election time. I also hear hope, though. I hear a new generation that is willing to do more. They're willing to do the work, but they haven't been given enough opportunities, or the knowledge that is already available has not been made available to all in equitable terms. So I'll give you an example. There's right now money, lots of money available from the state for apprenticeships and internships in Broward County for youth, and not just for youth. As I go about the community and I ask, like, so are you aware that there are programs for youth to get an apprenticeship or internship, and after a year, and they're paid. These are apprenticeships that are paid. The government pays you to learn, and when you're done, you get a job that's paid $75,000 a year as a marine technician, or diesel marine technician. And nobody seems to know that there's money available. So what I'm seeing is that the government failed and some of the elected officials have failed at sharing this type of information that could make such a big difference in the lives of so many. I also see a lot of economic pain on the small businesses. What I see is a government that's very eager to put more burdens on small businesses. I talked to a small little business that was waiting. I'm not going to say the city because I don't want to get anybody in trouble,
I don't
but
do it.
but they were waiting for 7 months to
Mm,
take a sign down. Like they bought the business from someone else, and the old sign was still hanging above the door and on the street. And they were saying, hey, all we want to do is take the sign down. And they went to the city. They needed a permit to take the sign down. They waited 7 months. They didn't even get the permit to get the sign down. We're not even talking about getting a permit for the new sign. Things like that. And you're barely surviving. You got to pay your people. You got to keep track of all the paperwork that the city, the county, the state, everybody, the health department, everybody's coming to you for. And so government that removes a lot of these barriers. So what I would also want to do is I would want to get together with all the municipalities in the district and the county and see how can we streamline things for small businesses, because a lot of them are saying the same thing. They are frustrated because government is too heavy. It's too much. It's too hard for them to keep track and to get through this entire maze of approvals and paperwork and taxes and everything else. How can we make it easier? Maybe we can put a little, small business support, outpost somewhere in the community and say, hey, if you have a problem, whether it's the county or the city, just go here. And you have one person that's going to say, okay, if you have this problem, you talk to this person. If you have this problem, or I'll fix it for you. Let me help you. We don't have that kind of thing, so you have to go to 15 people until you get the right answer. So cleaning a lot of that bureaucracy, that's going to go a long way for small businesses, and then in turn they generate more value, more money, and then they hire more people from the community. So that's another issue that I hear a lot about. And so yeah.
Someone asked, where can they find that this information that you were saying about those programs, apprentice program, where they can sign up and get that stuff and know about that? Where can they find that information?
They can find that at Career Source. If they Google Career Source Broward, they can go there, and then there's a section on that website, Career Source Broward. It's a government agency. It's a state agency. It's state of Florida, but it's called Career Source Broward. And under I mean, I can try to find it and I can send it to you. We can post it later. And there's a section for training apprenticeships. And what they do is they work with the small business or with the individual looking for these kind of apprenticeships, and they try to pair them up and provide these resources. Yeah.
Okay. Let's move to an area that's dear to me, because I worked with Broward County Schools for 28 years. I coach football, basketball, cross country, track, and I've seen the school system start is fading. It's fading. When I say it's fading, the numbers enrollments have gone down because people have left. People are moving. Education is it is still one of the most important issues facing our families in this area. What significant steps would you support to improve the quality of education for students in Broward County and in your district? A lot of times we one side of the town gets it, and then the other side of the town don't get it. There are some schools that should have programs that they weren't given. So how can we even the playing field for for these schools because, I'm gonna say it, Hallandale High was on the verge of closing because our
Yep.
enrollment was low.
I was there
McNichol,
when they had that meeting. Yep.
yeah, McNichol was on the verge of closing because the attendance was low. There are a lot of other schools that are on the verge of closing because the attendance is low. How can we rectify that? What would be one of your focus on that, and what would you do to help kind of change it in a way?
So you have the county commission, which is county government, but then you have the school board, and they're in charge of all of the public schools. So there's limited influence, I would say, a limited influence I would have as a county commission board member, as a county government, because the school board, they have their own elected official, the school board members, and they have their own taxing authority. They collect the taxes, and they decide, that board decides how, like you were saying, whether the equitable distribution of all those taxes in the district. And so what I would say is the first thing I would do is I would want to, because even though I would be county government, they would be school board government, right? Or the school board. We serve the same population, the same exact families. And so these kids would be my kids as well, right? Like you as a public official, you take ownership of what's not working, whether or not you have an impact on it. So what I would do is I would develop a close working relationship with the school board commissioner or the school board member, as they call them, the school board member that represents this area. That would be the equivalent, basically, of county government before the school system. And I would want to understand, number one, what can I do with county government to make sure that the resources that the community needs are being delivered, that there's equity in investment across the district, not just some schools, all schools, and every single one of our kids has all of the tools and the resources we need. I would also want to make sure that we as boards, we meet, because I was in county government for, like I said, 5.5 years. I don't ever recall the county government and the school board. They both basically oversee the same, county. One over the county government, port, airport, infrastructure, all that stuff, economic development. The other one is over the schools. These two boards, you would think, once in a while would get together and say, hey, these are our kids. We have, these problems, these situations. How can we work together to work, not once they got together. That's part of the problem. So it kind of brings me to another point I did want to make, which is we got to learn and push our elected officials to work well with each other, because sometimes you have personalities that get in the way. Well, I don't like that person. I've heard of this, blah, 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 and you don't get things done. And because if you don't get together, it's just like any community. Like if you have all of these little boards, and you have 31 municipalities, and you have the school district and the county commission, and you have we also have the Memorial and Hospital and the Broward Health Hospital. They have their own taxing authority, their own board. So you have all of these pockets, right? It's like a mishmash. But if you don't work well with each other, if you don't get together and basically aim all resources at a problem, then you don't get things done. So I would say getting together with a school board member that represents this area, being on the ground. I would visit all these schools, spend time with the teachers, spend time with the staff, with the kids, and see, hey, what look at the facilities and say, what can we do as county government to assist the school board in making sure we have equal and equitable investment across the district, because every single child deserves the best possible education in Broward County.
Yeah. We talked about it earlier about affordable. That's good. That's good, because that's really important, because we school board, we're dealing with teacher shortage, lack of programs in the school. And like you said, it would be good for, I know you can't really push it, but let's every now and then, as a commissioner, as the county commissioner, just remind them of sometimes it's just not the position, but we get caught up in their position, their title, and they forget that it's about the people and the students that they're supposed to serve. And a lot of times they lose focus on that. But every now and then, I think somebody with a voice like you say, "Hey, don't forget, hey, like we're losing focus on our kids." Because that is very important. Like with programs, what are some of the programs that you would suggest for to implement in the school system if you were able to?
I would focus. I mean, listen, we live in a globalized world, and whether we like it or not, we are competing not just with Miami-Dade or Palm Beach, or with Georgia or with Chicago. We're competing on a global level, and the world is moving very quickly with AI, with technology, with all of these new things happening, right? So we have a choice. We either keep people trapped in a mindset and an economy that is no longer working, that is a bygone era,
Mm.
or we focus on teaching our upcoming generations into the future technologies and industries and jobs that are going to make a lot of money. So I would say number one, align our curriculum and our students' education with what's happening globally. Competing with China, we're competing with India, we're competing with, and now online, people can sit at home on a computer and make hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars with the right skill set. And that has to be taught. Number two, entrepreneurship. I think our kids should be taught entrepreneurship, how to learn how to manage money and make money. Because when I moved from Romania as a young man, I did not know how the credit system worked. I did not know that if you spend too much, these folks are going to come ask you
Coming at
for
you.
those money back. And so I got stuck for some time in a financial, debt spiral, because I did not have the tools and the understanding. And so educating kids since they're young, and I also educating them on how to create businesses. So I would want to bring successful entrepreneurs, and there's plenty in the community, people that do well. Hey, how can we bring them here and have a workshop, teach them how to build a business from nothing, high school, from even before that, how to build a business, how to grow a business, how to make money and produce for their own families and for the community. And I would say number three, I would say have them have kids, for those that may not, because not everybody's the same. I would say back to the entrepreneurship element, but more on the apprenticeship and the internship, aligning the education with the private sector, because we already have so many people. The marine industry is like billions of dollars. I was just told that there's all these yachts from these billionaires that come in here to get maintained. Somebody, it- I,
Yeah.
a lady I just spoke with recently, she said she's putting, she's retrofitting some of those yachts, and she's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I had no idea that's even possible. It's
Yeah.
right here, a mile away. So getting people and young talent to know what's available and getting them trained. So just shifting a few things in the school system so that things are aligned for the jobs that are of the future, the jobs that are next door, and the jobs that make money, as opposed to just keeping kids busy for the sake of keeping them busy. You know, that,
Yeah,
that's what I would say.
yeah, I totally agree because tech school trades are very important now. We all would love our students, our kids to go off to college. I often said, you have some that have a 4-year attention span, and you got some that have 2 years attention span, and then you got some that got a year, 9 months, 6 months. So you got a group of students, a group of young people that everybody's not going to go to college. So there are some areas like you say, and I've heard about the maintenance on the yachts and the boats and redoing it and surface. It's big money there. It's a lot of money to be made. Air conditioner, and I often tell the people I tell them about the story where at my school there was a guy who was doing the copy machines, and I would see him sitting down, and then I see him doing work, and then I see him sitting down. So I just asked him a question. I said, "Hey, how long you been doing this?" He said, "Probably about a year in." I said, "Oh, cool." I said, "How many years of college? How did you go to school? How many years?" He said he went for a 9 months certification, and he came out with a job. And it so happened being where he's taking care of the school. So I said, if you don't mind sharing with me, and this was in 2000. So I
Wow.
say, if you don't mind sharing with me, what are you making out? What's your salary? He said like $25 an hour. And at that time, $25 an hour at doing that
Good
time,
money.
and yeah, good money. And he had a number of schools that he had to service. So him sitting down, doing working a little bit, taking his breaks, them hours. You know what I'm saying? So you got this school, he got 8 schools. You do the math. So those areas are very, very good for our kids, and that should be pushed more for our young people, for our students. Other than we want to push them to college. Don't
Of
get me wrong
course.
on that. Don't get me wrong on that. But everyone is not college material, college bound. So let's be real about that. Let's talk about affordable housing. You talked about it a little bit before, but I want you to address this. How would you address the growing number of residents who are being pushed out of their communities?
So let's start with the seniors, because I don't know, my heart is with the seniors, and of course with everyone, but specifically the seniors that I feel like have worked all their lives for that nest egg, that and unfortunately now they're being pushed out. Miami-Dade a few years ago, um, when we were at the height of the crisis, and we're still, it's ongoing, but when that legislation came down from Florida, where a lot of the condos, for example, had to go through all those recertifications, and a lot of seniors, especially in like low income condos and on fixed income, and by the way, we have about 14,000 seniors in Broward County that are low and ultra low income, and with a lot of these folks living in condos, and so with all those assessments and insurance, they were just kicked out. They had to sell because they could not afford anything. And so Miami-Dade, they came out with a program. They said, "Listen, we got to take care of our seniors." So they came out with a little loan program. Or actually, I'm sorry, it was a grant where they would like just give some money to a lot of these folks so they can afford staying in their homes. Uh, the Broward County Commission, they just like that, they said, "No, we're not going to do it." Oh, they looked at the price. They did a little study. They're like, "Nah, we're not going to do it." So I feel like that's where it all starts. We were talking about pain before, right? Like when you don't genuinely hear or feel the pain in the community, it's very easy to just say like, "Nah, we're not going to do it." So I would start with, like, again, a change of mindset in the commission. Now it doesn't mean that we're going to just like do every program out there, because at some point you run out of money. But when it comes to your most vulnerable people, you have to have a different approach to things. So I would say that look at some of these programs and how we can protect the most vulnerable, like a senior on an ultra low fixed income. That needs to be that you we got it's it's who we are as people. We cannot let these people in the streets. And so I would say that's number one. Number two, on affordability. Flooding contributes, unfortunately, to a lot of the affordability crisis, because the more you pay for insurance calculates a risk. If they say, "Hey, in this area there's a very high risk you're going to get flooded, so your insurance is going to shoot up like significantly, because if obviously if you flood, then they have to pay more money," whatever models they figure out. The problem with that is, if you have better infrastructure to actually drain your streets faster and better and
Mhm.
quicker, then your insurance premiums would go down, because their risk is much lower. They don't have the risk of your
Right,
house and business being flooded is lower, so they're not going to charge you so much in insurance.
right.
And so that comes with the territory. So I would say investing in better infrastructure and pushing, working with the cities, going to Tallahassee and asking them for more money for infrastructure. And I know there's folks that are like, well, we don't need Tallahassee and they're, this and that. I don't care. I'm going to go there and ask for money for infrastructure for my community. Just like that. Say, we need money for the community, please. And work with our delegation, with Representative Woodson and many other representatives that are dear friends of mine, and get more money for the community for infrastructure. Number 3 is build more services. Build more services, county and city services to serve the residents and lower prices. We talked about transit. Well, if we had better transit, and let's say a senior doesn't have to pay $600 for that car payment and gas and tires and all of the maintenance that you have to put into a car throughout the year, well, that's $600 a month in your pocket. That's like over $7,000 a month. I mean, a year that you're left with in your pocket. And so a lot of these things, it may seem like, well, God, what can government put more money in my pocket? Well, if you start slicing it out and say, well, if we do this differently, if we do this better, if we have this, then all of a sudden you start seeing more money being added into your pocket. And when it comes to the working people, going back to my conversation before, if you have more housing, for example, if you work with the public and the nonprofit and maybe even the churches, why not? We have a lot of churches with land. We have a lot of schools with a lot of land that's not being used. So what if we come up with some and by the way, I'm not the first. This is not the first time I'm bringing this up. There have been people that brought up. We have all these schools with massive properties, and
Right.
and some of them is not used. You know better than me because you worked in the school system. You see lands with just like grass. There's nothing, and for decades nothing has happened.
Right.
Well, why can't we work with the private sector? Why can't we build some housing and start with the teachers, the firefighters, the people that are already in the community, maybe the seniors, maybe the veterans. And so start with what we have, the assets we have, because you don't pay for the land because you already have the land. Maybe we work with some nonprofits that can help you lower the cost of building. Work with the cities and provide some funding. Go back to Tallahassee. And then even the churches. That is another area where now the legislative body allows churches to build affordable housing. So how can I, as a government, partner with a community, a church, a religious community, and bring some nonprofits, maybe even bring some donors, and put all that into one pocket of money, one bucket of money, and build some affordable housing for the community. So it's not a silver bullet. There is no one solution that fixes it all.
Yeah.
Only
Right.
God above can fix everything. But if you start making progress on small little things like that, at the end, it all adds up.
Yeah. And people and the voters have to understand it's not an overnight fix.
No.
Even though a lot of times politicians make they hype, but not actually saying the steps that it's going to take to the transparency of, okay, listen, I'm going to push for it, but you got to go from A to B to get to C.
Correct.
It's not going to be overnight. And I think voters are really looking for that in those that are running, our politicians, that transparency. Let us know that it ain't gonna take over. It's not gonna be overnight. It's gonna take more than 2 years, but I'm gonna fight for it.
That's it.
And literally do it, because a lot of times politicians make promises during this time, while they're running, during campaign time, and then don't follow up on it. And I know as the voters, it's our responsibility to make them accountable for it. Let's talk about this. And we're gonna wrap up. We're wrapping up. How would you ensure, someone sent this, how would you ensure taxpayers' dollars are spent responsibly?
That's a good one. I'll give you another example from my time at the county. We spent $46 million as a county, just county government, from both taxpayer dollars and grants that we get from the state and from the federal government on homelessness. Now, that's in addition to what big cities like Fort Lauderdale and Hollywood and some other big cities spend on their own on homelessness. I never did the math to add them all up, but it's probably getting up there to probably 100 million if I were to guess. I don't know, because if you add all of the cities that spend money on homelessness and homeless related programs. Now, how many homeless do we have in Broward County? I don't know, maybe I think the last time they counted anywhere, because you can never really count every single soul, right? Because people move and transient and come from other states, whatever. But let's say roughly 10,000, even 12,000. How much money is that per individual, per person? And that's every year is being spent. So one time I was sitting in county government, I was reading these budgets, and I walked down because county government is downtown Fort Lauderdale on Andrews Avenue. I walked down, and if any of you and yourself and some of the viewers, if you know Broward Boulevard, that there's a McDonald's and there's a transit center, and there's a lot of folks that congregate over there. So I went there and I started talking to people. And I went on a day when they have this community court program where they bring a judge, to basically, a judge that's trained in dealing with all sorts of issues, like whether it's substance addiction and other things, to essentially work with the homeless population, to provide help as opposed to punishment, to just kind of help people, provide resources and whatnot. And you also had a lot of nonprofits and a lot of folks in the room. And what I realized is that we can do so much better with our dollars, because it makes no sense that we're spending so much money, 46 million every year, just the county alone. And yet when you call that homeless hotline, which I did, because I'm the kind of like, okay, well, if you say you're going to help, let me see if you're going to help. I called them, and they told me, this was a few years back, I was in government, and they told me, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have anything for tonight. We don't have a bed." I said, "Well, I'm, I pretended. I just pretended. I said, well, I'm homeless. And I have a child with me. I need something for tonight." They said, "Sorry, sir, we don't have anything." So you put the two and two together. You have 46 million
Wow.
county alone, and then when
Wow.
you call, you don't have a bed. Something doesn't add up there. And
Wow.
what I realized is a lot of that dollar does not end up with the person. It ends up with all of these bureaucracy, all of these management company, all of these, like the manager, supervisor, assistant manager, all of these people. So by the time that dollar gets to the person, it's probably a few cents, right? And so I'm not disparaging the good work that a lot of people are doing in this field. I'm not saying that the entire county is not doing anything about it, or that the folks that work in county government and the home, human services department. There's many amazing people doing amazing work. But what I'm saying is the system overall is not working, because if you have all this money and there's no services, and I can give you so many other examples. So what I'm saying is, I would start with a review, with a study. Just like when you have a company, you have to have an audit to see how much money do we have and where do we spend all this money. I would want the county to do an accounting study of all the departments and where the money goes, so we can understand how much is going on things we don't need instead of going on things we need. That would be my priority, because I have not just a feeling. I know we can do better with the money that our good taxpayers are paying every year through their taxes.
And to that, I'm gonna ask you this question. I mean, knowing that situation, when you are elected, when you are commissioner, how would you try and rectify that, correct that, if you could?
I would ask. So I would need my peers to vote for that as well. But I would ask, number one, the things that I could do without spending money on any, auditing studies and whatnot. I would ask for me to look at all of the budgets, all of the spending, where it goes, and a true accountability. And I would invite, if needed, groups from the outside, folks that know this industry, that know the space, that have a heart for, hey, and folks that are competent in this field, for them to take a look and see whether we have optimized our programming, all of our programs, and whether we do the best that we can do. And number two is, if needed, if you see discrepancies and you see that money is not being spent right, then you would have to have someone from the outside, right? Like one of these consulting companies that specialize in auditing, forensic auditing, and looking into management and how do we need all of these positions? Do we need all of these programs? Or do we have duplicative programs? That's another thing. Like you have multiple organizations doing the same thing, but they don't talk to each other, but they all take money from us. Right? Like the city may be doing the same thing. Oh, they have this task force, but then the county has the task force, but the two task forces don't talk to each other. So basically looking to see how can we trim the fat so that more of that dollar that we spend gets where it needs to be. And then also see if we employ best practices, because for example, on homelessness, we know that a big issue is a lack of homes, a lack of housing. Another big issue is substance abuse. Does the county do everything it can to help with substance abuse? We have a center, it's called the BARC Center for Substance Abuse, and the county does overall a pretty good job. But can we do more? Can we do it better? Can we do it differently? Can we do more family reunifications? How can we train law enforcement to be more, to work with? Because a lot of them are, listen, I've met a lot of law enforcement, and I'm so grateful for their service. But how can we provide them with more resources and training so that they know where the resources are? Because oftentimes they want to do the right thing. They say, hey, you can go here or there, but if the government and if the politicians don't make sure that information is being disseminated to law enforcement, they wouldn't know, because you don't tell them, and so how can county government, how can the commissioner make sure that we improve our programs, that we provide our law enforcement, that our social services, all of the tools and the resources, so they can do their jobs, and so all of these things would I would say they go back to accountability, transparency, and honesty. Let's just have a government let's have dashboards. How much are you spending? Where's it going? This is your dollars. You should know how that dollar is being spent.
Yeah. Wow. Hey, listen, y'all, you've been locked into the South Florida Live podcast. This is Meditation Monday. We are talking about the things that matter with my friend, candidate who's running for county commission, District 6, Mr. Eugene Bowe. Hey, listen, I'm going to ask you this last final question. Those that are viewing, some threw in questions that I did ask. If you have a quick question real quick, you can put it in the comment section. Candidate Bowe, if you could sit down with every resident of Broward County for just 5 minutes, what would you want them to know about you, your campaign, and the future you believe is possible for Broward County?
I would want them to know that I'm one of them. I'm one of them. I'm not elite. I'm not a fancy person. I'm literally one of them. I'm not young. I'm not young anymore, but I have a young family just like them. I struggle to pay bills at times just like them. I go to church just like them, and I pray to God to, for a better future for our families, for our children, for our youth, for our entire community, just like them. And just like them, God at times puts you in a certain position, and calls you to do some things that are beneficial for the community. And I feel like I have been called at this moment in time to do this. Now, to God be the glory, whatever the outcome is, on my job of going in the community and saying, your government can do better. And I know that because I've worked in it for more than 5 years. I've peeked behind the curtain. I know it can do better, and I'm willing to fight so that we can make sure it does better, that it delivers more, that your dollar stretches further, that we have better programs for youth, for seniors, for working people, that we bring more money in the community, that our transportation does a better job, that our flooding gets addressed and mitigated, like they say, the word mitigate, because you cannot fix it completely, but you can mitigate it. We can bring more money. That I'm willing to work with everyone, regardless of anything. I don't care. I'm a Democrat. I'm willing to sit down and to work with everyone, because we need everyone at the table to solve these issues. What's happening in DC and all of that vitriol and everybody screaming at everybody, that's just staring each other down. That's staring our community down, and what some people don't see, that's tearing our own future to pieces. And so if we want to build something, we got to sit down together and we got to find the best solutions to our problems. Less politics, less, let's say, less of the good old boys network, less of like, well, I've been around for 40 years in politics and I know better. Well, if the proof is in the pudding, the proof is in the streets, the proof is in the neighborhood. If you knew better, then you would have done better. So how about we reset the tone? How about we start demanding more of our politicians? How about we try to get more involved in voting? Because that's another problem. A lot of people vote, but there's also a huge amount that doesn't vote. And how can we get everybody out to vote? Because change demands action, demands work. We need them to come out and vote. So what I would say is, please talk to your friends, your neighbors, your relatives. Everybody must come out to vote. Yep. Pray for clarity and for God to work in the community, because we need clarity. We there's a lot of noise. Oftentimes people are pulled in different directions. We need clarity, and we need good people. I'm one. There's so many of us, good people with a genuine heart. Don't be afraid to get involved. And I know it's not easy and it's not hard. And listen, I've been told, who are you? Who do you think you are? You're not part of a elite family. You're not wealthy with millionaires, and you're going to go against a millionaire, and she's got all the lobbies, the developers behind, the politicians behind. And I said, you know what? That's fine. If I have the God and the community behind me, there's nothing more powerful than that. And so what I would say is get involved, love on your community, try to make a difference. Life is short. We only have a very limited amount of time on this earth. So just try to make a difference in someone else's life, and God's going to bless that.
Yeah. Someone asks, what cities are impacted from District 6? What cities are in District 6?
Great question. So I'll start with Pembroke Park, West Park, Hollandale, moving up to Hollywood, almost all of Hollywood, from Beach all the way to 56. So think of like from the Beach to the Guitar. Mm-hmm. And you move up into Dania, all of Dania, a bit of Davie, tiny bit of Davie, but just the industrial area. And then if you move into Port and the airport area, there's a few neighborhoods from Fort Lauderdale. So I would say the biggest ones would be Hollandale, Hollywood, Dania, and then West Park, Pembroke Park. So if you live there, or if any of you have friends who live there, please tell them to get out and vote. Starting with Saturday, they can come out on Saturday. The voting locations, though, are only two, unfortunately, and this is really, I wish it was different. It's Hollandale and Hollywood, only Hollandale and Hollywood. They don't have a voting location in West Park or in Dania, which I think it's unfortunate. I would push for funding for that, because it's the county commission that can provide more funding for Joe Scott.
Well, that's that area where they're trying to make it so difficult, but we got to overcome that, and we can overcome it. That's why I've been stressing since probably February about voting, how important is voting this time to vote and make sure that we're prepared to vote, because we know what happened in 2024. 90 million didn't vote. And I often tell people that if you're part of that 90 million, you don't have anything to say. You can't complain about a thing. So we don't want to have that happen now. That's why I've been stressing that early voting is the thing, is the way. That's just early vote. Dade County started this week. Broward County starts on Saturday, on the 8th. So prepare yourself, get yourself together. Let's go out and vote in record numbers. Once again, I've been saying, Candidate Bold, that I've been making people accountable for our seniors, to make sure that they're good, that if they're doing mail-in voting, to make sure that everything is done properly for them. That way they don't have any problems, anything come back. Make sure their signature is on it for those. And I was stressing about those who got the new driving license number that needed to be updated in the system.
Yep.
Because you don't want that issue when you walk up to the polling station and it doesn't match with your driving license that's in the system. Right. Yeah. Okay. Hey, listen, y'all, this has been great. I told y'all it'll be great. It would be fun. It'll be informative. My friend, my brother, he's running for County Commission District 6, Mr. Eugene Bowe. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on the South Florida Live podcast, and we wish you well. Our prayers are with you.
Thank
you. Through this journey, that you're on, and hey, we're looking to see the outcome, and I got a feeling.
Thank you.
I got a feeling.
Thank you.
Hey, y'all. So you've been locked into the South Florida Live podcast. My friend, my brother, we thank you. Peace be with you and blessings upon you on your journey.
Thank you. God bless all of you. God bless you. Mr. Brown, right. God bless everybody.
Okay. We'll be talking soon. All right. Hey, y'all. You've been locked into the South Florida Live podcast. My special guest, candidate Eugene Bowe. With us on tonight. He's running for County Commission, District 6. So, hey, Broward County, get ready. The 8th is coming. Get ready. Early voting. Get yourself prepared. Go vote. Those are Dade County. You've been watching. It started today. Go vote. Early voting. Get it done. I'm going Wednesday. Take care of mines. So let's do it. All right. Once again, I'm stressing it that please, y'all, look out for our seniors. Take care of our seniors. Make sure our seniors are good. Make sure that they are prepared. Make sure they have everything in place. If they're doing mail-in ballots, please make sure they are filled out properly and their signature is on it. Okay, please do that if you will. All 18-year-olds that are registered to vote, make sure you get them to vote. Lottie Dottie and everybody. Hey, listen, I want to thank everyone that joined us on tonight. I see Ms. Natalie Wiggins with us, Esther Jackson. Thank you for joining us tonight. I think I saw Robert Green with us on tonight. Lakia, thank you for joining us on tonight. Appreciate your questions. Parker Roosevelt with us tonight. Thank you so much. McLean, thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate you, everyone that was with us on tonight. Hey, listen, don't forget, Thursday, Thriving Thursday. We're supposed to have a special guest on Thriving Thursday. Let's talk about the things that matter. Thursday, 7 p.m. If you will, once again, if you'd like to be a partner with us, donate to this podcast, you're welcome to. You can. We appreciate it. $ Power of Glory 777. $ Power of Glory 777. And also Jeffrey Brown. Our Zelle is Jeffrey Brown 2094@gmail.com. 2094@gmail.com. That's Jeffrey Brown, Jeffery Brown 2094@gmail.com. Thank you so much for being with us on this evening. I hope everyone have a wonderful night. Enjoy your night. Blessings upon you. I love everybody. I love you. That's an action word. Nothing you can do about it. Okay. And now, as I always say, I'll pray for you. Y'all keep praying for me. And let's watch God change things. All right. God.
Email your idea for show topics to the South Florida Live Show at gmail.com. Thank you for tuning in to South Florida Live with your host, Jeffrey Brown.